10 months ago, I had no idea how to do this, and now I land the trailer with Kate freaking Winslet on it.
First known for such films as Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, The Reader, and Titanic. She now produces and stars in the new film Lee. Please welcome back to The Late Show, Kate Winslet.
Academy Award winner Kate Winslet. She's now starring as more photojournalist Lee Miller in Lee. Kate, good morning to you.
Dude, this movie is all over the news. It's on Stephen Colbert. It's on the Kelly Clarkson show. Everybody's talking about this, and Kate Winslet is doing appearances this week for this movie. And you might not know this, but I was the composer for one of the trailers of Lee. And I am really excited that the movie is finally out in theaters in the US, and everybody can go watch it. And even though I didn't work in the movie per se, I have a small part in the promotional campaign of the film, and that is truly an honor, especially with the movie so relevant today. So today I'm going to show you how this happened, how I came across an opportunity like this, and what it took for me to write the music that is now in the trailer for Lee. So let's dive right into it. Trailers have always been such a different world to me, and almost like a different beast altogether in terms of writing music. You have to use an entirely different workflow to get to write one of these pieces, and there are a few things that I learned along the way throughout this 1 year of me working in the trailer industry. It's not even been a year, it's been like 9-10 months to finally landing my first trailer placement for this movie. I've learned so many things about how this industry works, how the music is written, and I would like to share some of those experiences with you if you would like. So for the people who have been writing music for trailers for a long time, you guys might have a lot more credits under your belt, and this is just my experience coming from this 1 year working in the industry. It's not a lot, and I know that, but I think it is important to share that, especially for people just interested in finding out about how a trailer score is made. And this stuff is not really online where you can learn it. There's no programs in universities where you can go and learn about trailer music scoring. There's not a lot of courses out there. So I thought, why not share a little bit of this? So fast forward to a year ago, I get contacted by this publisher on my Instagram. I'm a composer for film, and I'm also a content creator on Instagram. And I've done that for several years. I've put a lot of my projects, my music, and creative things in the form of content creation, and that's opened several doors for me, including this one, which is the trailer music opportunity, and ultimately the fact that this trailer got placed. But this publisher got in touch with me, and they were like, hey Juan, we think you have a really special, unique sound, and we think it's not in the trailer world yet. Would you like to experiment with us and create something together? And I was like, absolutely, of course. I was full of fear because I had no idea how to do this thing. I have never written a piece for a trailer, and anyway, it was a totally unknown place for me. But I said yes, and they came back and they pitched me on this idea of making an album with, music that you would see on a period piece or a historical drama, or maybe even an Academy Award nominee. Sucker for those kind of movies, and I admire the composers that have been part of those movies. Think about Thomas Newman in 1917. Think about Alexander Desplat. I said yes, let's do it, and I went into it. So Noble Echoes started actually as a little motif with a chord progression that I wrote in Logic very, very roughly. And then I called my friend Sabrina. Sabrina Tabby is an exceptional violin player. She's currently in Nashville, and she's been working on my projects since 2020, her and her quartet, Atlas. I always call her for anything because her work ethics are amazing, her playing is impeccable, and the sound you get from her is just insane. So I needed to get that. I feel like it's December, mid-December, everybody's going away for vacation, and I'm like, damn, I need to get this session done. Turns out she was available
for a couple of hours right before her flight that same day. And so I asked her to do the session for me. And we did an hour and a half session where we recorded a few of the themes and motifs that I had written. But before the session, I told her that I didn't have any completed pieces of music or any sort of mock-ups created for this, which was kind of like weird because I usually have this stuff with me. I usually come to a session prepared with material, with mock-ups, with everything is notated. For this case, I was just starting to build the pieces from scratch, from little seeds of ideas that I was coming up with. And that's what we did. For an hour and a half, we recorded a bunch of ideas that I wrote, and one of those ideas was for Noble Echoes. And this brings me to why it sounds like why it sounds. I used to hate to play Baroque music, more specifically Bach, when I was studying classical piano in school. I didn't like it at all. I would always try to avoid it, but always had to do it. So I played a few preludes and fugues, I played a bunch of inventions for piano, and I never liked it. Then, a few years later, I'm thinking, what if I bring that Baroque kind of vibe into the more modern feeling that I really enjoy, that is film music? And that led me to start writing Noble Echoes. That's why it sounds like a Baroque piece, somehow put in the modern context. And then I leave that recording sitting for about 2 months because I'm focused working on the other pieces of the album, and there's one piece I kind of don't know what to do with it. I have the seeds of the ideas and I have somewhat of a structure and chord progressions, but I don't exactly know what to do. So 2 months later, I go back to the piece and I really try to get it done. First pass goes in, send it out to the publisher, and then I get all these notes, all these revisions. I was like stuck. I was like, what is going on? Well, it turns out that trailer music has a very different structure than film music, which is what I'm used to most of the time. You have to make space for the sections that the editors are gonna put inside. You have to also make sure that you add tension in the end of the sections and a lot of structural things that I wasn't aware of. Trailers often have a 3-act structure where everything kind of like gradually grows as you introduce each new section. All of this stuff is way easier said than done, but through revisions, through feedback from my publisher, I was able to kind of dial in these things to make the perfect structure for the track. That is, I would say, most functional for a trailer. The second thing and the second challenge that came through with trailer music for me was the mixing side. The production side is extremely nuanced, and there are so many tricks that trailer composers use to create the sense of like huge drums and like larger than live tracks that is just really admirable. And I admire all the trailer composers and mixers out there because that's complicated. I mixed Noble Echoes myself, and it took a long time, a lot of feedback, and I learned so much, from layering drums to layering strings to recording live strings and layering them with MIDI strings, and so many tricks for mixing, EQing. It was a lot. So the track is done, I delivered the album, and fast forward 2 months in the future, I don't know what's gonna happen. I kind of forgot about the album because, the way this industry works, you just pretty much pitch the music to trailer editors who are pitching their trailers to the studios, and then no one knows who's gonna get it. And so there might be a dozen or 24 composers working on a specific trailer at the same time. So very similar to the advertising world, it's extremely competitive, but this one might be even more so because there's less trailers done each year than ads. So anyway, a few months go by and then I get an email from my publisher saying, "Hey Juan, you got your piece in this trailer for this movie called Lee." And I was like, "Oh, cool. What is this?" And I go search the movie and it's like, "Oh, Kate Winslet, this is crazy. It's huge." I loved hearing those news, and it was such a reassurance for me that I was kind of doing the right thing in this industry. 10 months ago, I had no idea how to do this, and now I land a trailer with Kate freaking Winslet on it. Throughout those 10 months, I had the opportunity to pitch for a number of different films that came through the door, and I did my best. All of the pitches that I did in those 10 months were rejections, but no. A lot of music that is just sitting there waiting to be revealed at some point, waiting for its home in a trailer. It's just there. So this is one of the things that I can't stress enough about the trailer music industry, and is that there's mostly rejections when it comes to pitching for a gig. And it's, I would say, 99% rejections. But then once you land something, there's very few times that you can land something. It's extremely rewarding both financially and career-wise, because it establishes you as a trailer composer. And there's very few of us that really make it. And I wouldn't say that I've made it yet. I would say this is just the start of making it into the industry, because it takes a long ass time to do. So many good people doing great music. But let's get back to the movie itself. I really think it's gonna be great, and I'm gonna watch it very soon. Now I'm, again, very honored that I was able to be a little part of the promotional campaign of this film. My name might not be in the credits, but my music identity is in the trailer. And I'm just really grateful to my publisher for believing in me from the very start, even though I was full of doubt, and for kind of like teaching me the ways of this industry as I go. I found out about this movie Lee Miller, and I was so impressed by how relevant this movie is today, how incredibly powerful and poignant the topic is, and the fact that it's made by one of my favorite actresses that I've loved since I was 4 years old, watching Titanic every single week in my parents' room. All those factors have made me really love the fact that this was my first trailer placement, and I just love the fact that a movie like this is coming out now, because it would mean a lot for the world that is experiencing so much injustice. And I just think this is a good reminder of how powerful the truth in moments of conflict is.
Leave her alone!
Bad things do happen to some of us girls.
You have secrets, many, that you'll never share.
Stop! Who cares? Nobody saw them. You didn't print them. I fought for them, Lee!
Not hard enough. Go. Even when I wanted to look away, I knew I couldn't. There are different kinds of wounds. Not just the ones you can see.
Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.